Hey everybody, Joe here. I'm back again. This time around I want to do something a little bit different. I'm sure by now you've noticed a little change in the background behind me. And I know a few people have commented on how much better this looks than, of course, me standing in front of one bookcase, which was kind of cluttered. And, well, I figured this time around why not show you what I did behind me, and also along the way give a few tips for storing and presenting some of your retro games. So with that, let's just get into what I've got going on behind me. The most obvious change, of course, being the addition of the second bookshelf. There's not quite as much stuff on it, but I'm still kind of working on that. I want to start right down here at the bottom of this bookcase because I've talked about these in the past. I think these are a great idea for storing games less than presenting them and displaying them. But these are file card boxes for 4x6 file cards from the Snap & Store company. I think Amazon sells these for about $5-6. So for the price of one loose Genesis game, you're getting yourself a nice little storage option. And in the case of loose Genesis games, you can fit 18 loose Genesis carts in one of these. If you want to use them for Nintendo 64 carts, you could fit 14. If you want to use them for Super Nintendo carts, you can use one of these to hold 11, if I'm not mistaken. You know, they're nice, uniform. I've got 8 of them here. I'm actually going to need a couple more of them because I'm running out of room in these. I'll just have to figure out a different place to store them, maybe over here next to my box Genesis games. And then down here on this side is primarily handheld stuff and some other odds and ends. Gonna get into what's here. Start off with this little binder. This is a little page out of Pete Doerr's book of tricks. I've got some loose Game Boy carts and some loose TurboGrafx games in here as well. I'm probably gonna need a little better binder for this, but for now this kind of works. Next up I've got this, looks like a fairly typical Game Boy case for holding your Game Boy and accessories and a handful of games. Well, the way this thing was made, there was like an insert or a tray which held the Game Boy, the accessories, and when you take that out, well, I didn't take it out myself, I found it like this. Had no insert, so I just filled it with games, and it was a perfect fit for a whole bunch of Game Boy cartridges and clamshells. Next up, of course, you've seen one of these metal attaché looking things before. Intech made these for handheld game systems, most notably the Game Boy Advance. Basically, this thing had 2 foam inserts, like you'd fit 2 GBASPs in here. I took that foam out and just loaded it up with cartridges. I don't keep any of my accessories in here. And on this flap, I've got, I do have some odds and ends in here. And I've got my old school non-backlit GBA. With the GBA case out of the way, you can see I do have my DS and 3DS games over here. Don't have a lot of them, but still, what I have, some good stuff. I do like the DS and 3DS quite a bit. After that, my 2 and only 2 physical PSP games, God of War, Dracula X Chronicles. You know me, love Castlevania. And then this looks like a Game Boy case. These were made when the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Pocket were big, but it's also the perfect fit for an original DS Lite. Probably could fit a old fat DS in there as well. I've got my little Guitar Hero add-on. And in this, which was supposed to be an accessory pocket, I've got one of these clamshells for holding loose DS titles. After that, I've got some CD binders. The CD binders hold some loose disc games that I have, also some burnt Dreamcast titles. Don't tell anybody about those. You probably know I've got a ton of them. Alright, continuing on this side, obviously, you see box Genesis games. I'm not saying that I'm not a collector of box Genesis games, it's more that loose ones are cheaper and it was just how it worked out that I got a bunch of loose ones. So really only 10% of my Genesis collection, give or take, are boxed. I do have some Master System titles up there. In fact, I'd say probably these three are about 1/3 of my Master System collection, because my Master System games are mixed in those boxes with the Genesis titles. You know, I keep all them over here. You gotta have like little spaces, because most of these games have the little hang flap, and I don't cut them off. Some people do. Doesn't bother me either way, but kind of wish they never had them at all. The Japanese versions don't have them, but I'm not going to bother cutting them off. And on this side, of course, you've got NES cartridges. I've got both my label variants of Mario 3 here. I've got my repro of Sweet Home on here. And it goes up and up. 2 shelves up of NES games. As I said, here's the second shelf of the NES games. Up here, I have my unlicensed NES games. All your Tengans, your Color Dreams, your American Video Entertainment games, they're all gonna go right up here. My Game Boy and Game Boy Color up here. Odds and Ends, Zapper. And then I've got stuff on the top shelf, which I'll get into in a little bit. Let's just show you the other side of this. Over here are all my loose N64 games. Since N64 games do not have end labels, I have taken to putting my own on there. Just got a cheap label maker from a Big Lots store, paid 10 bucks for it, and it actually cost more to buy replacement cartridges so I could make more labels. Kinda stinks, but you know what? It's working out so far, I think. I've got a nice presentable set of labels. Next up, that's just my buddy's custom artwork, Metal Gear Solid 4 for PS3 I'm borrowing. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen that already. Also over here, I've got these little trays. These are just little trays. I think they're like drawer organizers. You get them at the dollar store. You can get a 2-pack for $1, or you go to the supermarket, you could probably find single ones for like 2 something, more likely. You may as well just go to the dollar store and buy 2-packs. They're a little flimsier, but they do all the same. This was a non-dollar store one, these 2-pack that are still stacked up on each other. And these are holding my Famicom games. You can also use these for a number of other purposes. I think you could fit about like 33 Game Boy games with clamshells in these. Another option would be, of course, using the Snap and Store boxes. You could fit the same number of Famicom carts in one of those as you can Genesis carts. On this shelf, Super Nintendo, got some Famicoms mixed in right here. My 2 Famicom carts are Super Mario Collection, that's their version of Mario All-Stars, and Akuma Joe Dracula, that's Super Castlevania 4. It's a little cheaper to buy the Japanese carts in some cases. Got my Game Boy, Super Game Boy I should say, and Game Genie up here. And here, I'll move the camera over just a touch. I've got some DVD sets, Pat the NES Punk, Game Chasers. Starting from the left here, this is the Genesis At Games system. Piece of junk. Got it for Christmas from my mom. Nothing too special there. Next to that, this is a Famiclone system. This the console itself is shaped like a penguin. It's really kind of weird. I've been meaning to do a video on this. It's another piece of junk, but it's another thing that's complete in box and kind of interesting, so that's why I display it. I've got the Gamester 81 ColecoVision game. That's kind of cool. Haven't really played it because my ColecoVision is really janky how well it works. I think you've seen this before if you are a longtime follower of me. This is a complete in box Game Boy Pocket from Japan. It's gold. I don't know, did they ever make a gold one here in the US? No idea. And you know, you think I'm like an Austin Powers bad guy, you know, I love gold. Got my gold 3DS XL. New 3DS XL, I should say. Now let's keep the OCD in check. Have those names facing the right way. And then I got my complete in box Mario USA for the Famicom. As you guys know, I love me some Super Mario Brothers 2. I got this Legend of Zelda coaster This was something my buddy Dan, who you've seen in my Too Many McGames videos, he picked this up for me at a punk rock flea market. Next up, a little heart container bottle. This was a arcade block thing. One of these days I'm going to put something in it. I'm not sure what. Even just some marbles or like colored sand would look kind of cool, I think. A little tin from some Ghostbusters candy. And I got her up the original GBs. And then behind that, you've got your Twilight Princess HD box. It's all there, but I have played the game. I have taken it out. Honestly, this might sound weird, but I've gotten so used to the waggle controls of the Wii version that trying to, like, you know, get opponent to jump, I'm more comfortable playing on the Wii. Then I've got this Wizard Cartman figurine. This was another arcade block thing. I was going to give that to a friend of mine, but it's still sitting here. And then this box here, another big NES box it looks like, but what this is, I got myself a pair of those Vans from Nintendo, or Nintendo themed Vans, whatever you want to call them, and gonna be wearing them at Too Many Games. They're sneakers. You know what sneakers look like. I don't have to go into any detail on them. Batman up here. I'm sure you've seen this Batman doll in a lot of my videos. This guy was something I got out of a crane machine in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Figured, what the heck? He's shown up in a bunch of my videos. I'm Batman. And of course the Retron 5 box behind all of that stuff. Now let's check out the other side here. Up here on this side I've got my Wii U box, Atari Flashback, Retro Freak boxes. In front of the Retro Freak box I've got a deck of Nintendo playing cards from the 1950s. You know, how retro does Joe go? As retro goes. That's, you got my buddy Brian to thank for that line. Another person you'll be seeing again, you know, Too Many Games coming up. I actually haven't seen him in months, which is kind of sad. And then Space Invaders 10, well, cool arcade type thing. Don't know why, but it looks like some kind of like kaiju werewolf type deal on the side of the Space Invaders arcade machine. My Salt and Pepper Shakers, that was another arcade block thing. They're the ghosts from Pac-Man. I call them ghosts, not monsters. Some people call them monsters. I never understood why. They look like ghosts to me. And of course, Simon Belmont Vampire Hunter from Simon's Quest. Up here, that was a painting by Square Painter. Love this thing. It's been in a lot of my videos. I'm going to get another one. Something else from Square Painter this year at Too Many Games, I'm sure. At least I'm looking to. If he's got some Zelda or Mario 2 stuff, might buy something, especially if it's that size. It'd be really cool to get. So if you're listening, Adam, you know, be sure to bring something like that. I think that gives you an idea what's going on behind me now. Another thing I can mention are plastic bins from the dollar store like this are another great thing to have for controllers, wires, odds and ends, my camera junk, so on and so forth. And I've got probably about like 6 or 7 of these throughout the room that I use. You can also get slightly wider ones. These are very handy, and again, dollar store item. Storage solutions are always a great idea to have. Oh, and one last thing to show off, of course. This tower right here. You've seen this before. This was across the room when I would do pickups videos in front of the TV. This was on top of another bookcase. Actually, the books that were on the bottom 2 shelves of this bookcase are now across the room, and I strictly have this area completely for games, which is convenient. I'll just go over, I can't really get everything in frame the way I'd want to for this. I could break out my little pocket camcorder deal and shoot some stuff like that, but I'm feeling kind of lazy. But from the top down, I got my GameCube, 360, PS2, PS1, and on the very bottom a couple of TurboGrafx boxed games, or not complete boxed, but you know, the jewel case. And a couple of other PS2 and 360 games kind of out of order. figured move all the gaming stuff to one side, make it look a little bit neater. Basically all stuff you've seen in other videos that I've done before, just displayed a little bit differently. This is a little bit more neater, I think. I like it a lot better. Hope you do too, because you're gonna have to get used to seeing this behind me in a lot of my future videos. Anyway, I hope you've liked this little demonstration, show off, whatever you want to call it. Thought it'd be fun to do. I'm gonna go edit it and put it up now. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.